Dham ki jai, Yamuna Mai ki jai,
Yeah.
Ganga Mai ki jai, Bhakti
Yeah.
Devi ki jai,
Yeah.
Tulasi Maharani ki jai,
Yeah.
Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai.
Yeah.
All glories to the assembled
Hare
devotees.
Krishna.
Glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare
All
Krishna.
glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga.
Hare Hare Bol.
Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pachayane Nirvishesha Shanivari Paschadade Shatarne. Hare Krishna.
Hare.
Good morning, everybody. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, The Status Quo, Chapter 16, The Two Doorkeepers of Vaikuntha, Jai and Vijay, Cursed by the Sages. Text 19. Taranti yanjasa mrityum nivrita yadanugrahat yogina sabhavan kim swid anugriyeta yatparai. Taranti yanjasa mrityum nivrita yadanugrahat yogina sabhavan kim swid anugriyeta yatparai. Taranti yanjasa mrityum nivrita yadanugrahat yogina sabhavan kim swid anugriyeta yatparai. Everyone can chant, please.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Taranti hi anjasa mritum nivrita yad anugrahat yoginaha sa bhavan kim seid anugraheta yat parahai.
Taranti hi anujasa mrityum nirvitta yad anugrahat yoginasa bhavan kim swed anugraheta yat parai. Hare Krishna.
Taranti hi anjasa mrityum nivritta yad anugrahat yogina sa bhavan kim swed anugraheta yat parai.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, word for word translation. Taranti, cross over. He, because. Anjasa, easily. Mrityum, birth and death. Nivrita, ceasing all material desires. Yat, your. Anugrahat, by mercy. Yogina, transcendentalists. Sa, the Supreme Lord. Bhavan, you. Kim Swit, never possible. Anugriyeta, may be favored. Yat, which. Parai, by others. Mystics and transcendentalists, by the mercy of the Lord, cross beyond nescience by ceasing all material desires. It is not possible, therefore, that the Supreme Lord can be favored by others. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Unless one is favored by the Supreme Lord, one cannot cross over the ocean of the nescience of repeated birth and death. Here it is stated that yogis or mystics cross beyond nescience by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are many kinds of mystics, such as the Karma Yogi, Jnana Yogi, Dhyana Yogi, and Bhakti Yogi. The Karmis particularly search after the favor of the demigods. The jnanis want to become one with the Supreme Absolute Truth, and the yogis are satisfied simply by partial vision of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Paramatma, and ultimately by oneness with Him. But the bhaktas, the devotees, want to associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead eternally and serve Him. It has already been admitted that the Lord is eternal, and those who want the favor of the Supreme Lord perpetually are also eternal. Therefore, yogis here means devotees. By the mercy of the Lord, devotees can easily pass beyond the nescience of birth and death and attain the eternal abode of the Lord. The Lord is therefore not in need of another's favor, because no one is equal to or greater than Him. Actually, everyone needs the favor of the Lord for successful understanding of His human mission.
Good.
Taranti anjasa mrityum nivrita yadanugrahat yogina sabhavan kim swid anugriyeta yaparai. Mystics and transcendentalists, by the mercy of the Lord, cross beyond nescience by ceasing all material desires. It is not possible, therefore, that the Supreme Lord can be favored by others. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine. Another very nice verse in a very nice chapter of a wonderful pastime and the amazing conversations between Maitreya and Vidura. So this is very interesting. There were two things that are really mentioned or discussed in this verse. One is anugraha, and the other is anugrahita. Anugraha means to give mercy, to be merciful to someone. And as the verse says, it's by the Lord's mercy that the yogis, and yogis ultimately mean devotees, we'll get into that more, but it is by the Lord's mercy that these yogis are able to cross over the ocean of material existence. Taranti, what's that? Taranti, Hyanjasamrityum, very easily cross over death. Crossing over death means becoming eternal, becoming liberated. That's one thing. The Lord's giving mercy to these devotees. And the other is anugrahita. And that means receiving mercy. And the verse states, no, there's no need. There's no one who can give the Lord mercy. The Lord is in no need of mercy. Whereas the yogis, the devotees, are absolutely in need of and dependent on the Lord's mercy. So this is interesting. One Sanskrit phrase used here is kim svit. Prabhupada translates it as not possible. Was that what he? Yeah, never possible. Kim Swit. Literally, Kim Swit means like, you know, what what the heck? It's like how could this be? It's not only not possible, but it's like absolutely what the hell? It can't be, it can't happen. And Srila Prabhupada doesn't translate it like that in this purport, but that's the idea of it. And that's what Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti describes. He says Kim Swit means astonishment. That astonishment at two things, that the Lord is so merciful and the devotees are dependent on his mercy, and especially astonishment, like how could anyone think that the Lord is in need of someone else's mercy? That's Kim Swit. Kim Swit is like in English, we have question words in English: who, what, where, when, why, and they all start with W. Or does WH? And that's because those words come down through the Germanic, linguistics, where in German also the question words start with W. But in Sanskrit, the question words start with K. And I'm assuming it's the same in Hindi and probably Bengali and probably most of these English languages. Kim means like, you know, ka is who, Kim is water, how, kada, kenarta, when is this? So why is this? Kutra, when is this? So all of these Sanskrit question words are there. So the question is, how is it possible? How could it be? What is happening? How could anyone possibly think that the Lord's in need of mercy? So these 2 points are very nice and like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, astonishing. They're both astonishing, even though the astonishment is specifically referring to that second outrageous idea that Krishna is in need of mercy from someone else. But the first point, of course, is that by the Lord's mercy, one can cross over the ocean of birth and death when they become nivritta, when they become free of material desires, which Krishna also gives through his mercy, sitting in the hearts of all the living entity. He purifies the heart from within. So that's also Krishna's mercy. And then very easily, the devotee can cross over. Samashrita ye parapalavam plavam mahatpadam punya yashomarare. That's samashrita, ashrita, another important word that we'll get into gradually. That one takes shelter of parapalava plavam, the shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, which are like a boat. Mahatpadam punya yashomarare. If you take shelter of Murari, the destroyer of the demon Mora, those then by doing that, one can cross over Mahatpadam, this great ocean of material existence one could cross over. How? Bhavambudir Vatsa Padam Param Padam. This material world, which is uh, Vipadam, which is a very dangerous place because of death. As today's verse says, Taranti Yanjasam Mrityum. You cross over this material ocean of death, padam padam, step by step. How? Vatsa padam. That ocean for the person who has received Krishna's mercy, which means the person who is samashitaye parapalavam plavam. It doesn't mean the imperson, as Prabhupada describes in the purport. It doesn't mean the karma yogi. It doesn't mean the jnana yogi, the dhyana yogi, who all have other goals and other material desires to pursue. But samashita, those who directly take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, that means the bhaktas, the bhakti yogis, the devotees. For those person, Vatsapadam, that huge, unlimited ocean, the ocean of death, uh, we no, in this world, people don't know what's happening after death, even they think death is the end. So in that sense, death is a great ocean that they can't cross over. They could only drown in it. And even those who have more knowledge that death and rebirth are cyclical, and that also goes on and on and on eternally, birth and death over and over and over and over. For one who is born, death is certain, and for one who dies, rebirth is certain. So that's also a huge eternal ocean that cannot be crossed over. But for the devotee, that huge unlimited ocean that everyone is drowning in, that everyone is sinking and dying in, dying and being reborn and drowning again. Prabhupada gave the example of the dunking stool. I'm not sure where he heard this. I don't know if they did it in India, but they used to do it in the early American colonies, and they did it in England. You know, a few hundred years ago, they had the dunking stool that it was a person, a criminal or accused criminal or a witch or whatever, nonsense they were pursuing at the time, would be tied to a chair, and then they'd be dunked in the water in the lake in that chair so they couldn't breathe, and held under till they were almost dead, and then lifted up and they're gasping for breath. And they'd get their breath, and whether they were just torturing people or trying to extract false confessions from them or whatever. But then they dunk them again, and almost drowning, almost dead, lift them up again, gasping for breath, to the point where you would invite death rather than go through that up and down. So this is the ocean of material existence, like that, dunking and then gasping for air and thinking, oh, I'm free, I'm breathing, and then dunking again. But that becomes shrunken, Vatsapadam, like the water in the hoofprint of a calf, that unlimited ocean that no one can cross over. The karma yogis can't cross over it. The jnana yogis, the dhyana yogis can't cross over it. But for one, samashrita ye parapalavam plavam, for one who takes up bhakti yoga, who actually surrenders to Krishna, that person, not only they could cross over it, but they cross over it easily. That big ocean is like this much, hoofprint of a calf, like that. Like in a pasture after a rain, the calf's hoofprint is there and a little rainwater collects in it, and you step over it without even thinking. So this is how this is anugraha. This is the Lord's mercy upon the devotees. Bhagavad Gita also describes Daivihiye Shagunamayi Mamamaya Duratya. Mamamaya Duratya, my illusory energy, which means same thing, this ocean of material existence. Duratya, very difficult to cross over. So hard to cross over. Why? Why so hard? Because it's Krishna's energy. And Krishna's the supreme Lord, the supreme controller. So how could we tiny infinitesimal spirit souls possibly surpass Krishna's energy? We're constitutionally unable to cross over the material existence under our own steam, so to speak, under our own power, under our own ability, under our own karma for the karma yogis, under our own yoga for the Ashtanga yogis,
That is
under our own jnana or dhyana for the other types of yogis. Impossible, but only by getting the Lord's mercy. Daiviyesha gunami, mama maya dharatya, mam evaye prapadyante. That means the devotee. Prapadyante means surrender. Those who surrender unto Krishna. That means the devotee. That one word specifically excludes the yogis, karmis, and gyanis who are working under their own power. But if you surrender unto Krishna, if you take shelter of Krishna, mayametam tarantite. And the same word in today's verse, taranti yanja samrityum and mayametam tarantite. The same word taranti, one can very easily cross over it. So this means number one, that we require absolutely Krishna's mercy to cross over it. And because getting Krishna's mercy is not a karmic, yogic, or jnanic process, that means that by definition, receiving that mercy requires bhakti yoga. By surrendering to Krishna, prapadyante, surrendering unto Krishna, samashrita ye parapalavam plavam, taking shelter under Krishna's lotus feet. This is this is bhakti, and this is the access. This is what gives us access to Krishna's mercy. And again, as Prabhupada explains also in the verse and also in the purport, that the verse uses the word yogi, uh, but the fact that the yogis described here are after Krishna and absorbed in Krishna and dependent on Krishna's mercy, that means that those are bhakti yogis. Just like, again, Bhagavad Gita says, Yoginam api sarvesham madgiten antaratmana Shraddhavan bhajate yomam samayukta tamomata. The verse doesn't use the literal word bhakta in that verse. It says yogi, yoginam api sarvesham, who's the best amongst all the yogis. But because that yogi is described as Shraddhavan, bhajate, that he has faith in Krishna, that he's bhajate, that he's worshiping Krishna, that means that the yogi being described is actually the bhakta. Therefore, we understand that the topmost yoga system is Krishna consciousness, is bhakti yoga. That's the best yogi. Just like Bhagavad Gita also says that the best karma is yajna. And what is yajna? Yajna means offering to Vishnu. And what does offering to Vishnu mean? That means bhakti. So we always understand this, and Prabhupada makes clear. Let me just from that again from the purport. Let's see if I could. Um, mm, mm, mm. Yeah, it has already been admitted that the Lord is eternal, and those who want the favor of the Supreme Lord perpetually are also eternal. Therefore, yogis here means devotees. By the mercy of the Lord, devotees can easily pass beyond the nescience of birth and death and attain the eternal abode of the Lord. So yogis means devotees. When the when this type of discussion is happening, we can understand that a yogi means a devotee. And there's many places in Bhagavad Gita, the dhyana yogi is ultimate, the best is concluded ultimately to be the devotee, the what's the now the word's escaping me, the the yoga of intelligence, the intelligent yogi, what's the Sanskrit used there? Anyway, I can't remember right now. Uh, but the most intelligent yogi is the devotee. Of the karma yogis, the one who surrenders to Krishna is the best. This is always the conclusion because the bhakti yogi, the bhakta, is the only one who actually has access to Krishna's mercy, which again allows this taranti yanja samrityum, this very easily to cross over the material ocean. Uh, and this is the example of this pastime also, that the four Kumaras, again, without getting into the blame game history of this particular pastime, who's right and who's wrong. The fact is that the four Kumaras were not able to enter Vaikuntha because at that point they were not devotees. They were jnanis, they were brahmanas, they were sages. So therefore they couldn't enter Vaikuntha, and not entering Vaikuntha means that they were not able to fully, ultimately cross beyond material existence until they came to that point of surrender to Krishna. Then they understood Krishna, then they became bhaktas and worshiped Krishna, and then they actually were able to receive the mercy of Krishna, anugraha, and become pure devotees. Um, so bhakti is really ultimately the only means to attain the Lord's mercy and to attain freedom from death or liberation. Uh, and what is that liberation? Absolutely, first of all, not sayujya, not merging into the existence of the Lord, because that kills bhakti. And uh, bhakti is the practice. Bhakti is the method and bhakti is the goal. So sayujya, or merging into the existence of the Lord in some impersonal or self-annihilating way, destroys bhakti. So obviously that's rejected. And actually the pure devotees don't desire any kind of liberation, but they will sometimes accept the other four kinds of liberation for the sake of service, like Jai and Vijay. They were I don't know their history before, but they're associates of the Lord, very intimate associates of the Lord in Vaikuntha. That means they're in Vaikuntha, so they've attained Salokya, Mukti, residing in the same planet as the Lord. Sarupya, they have beautiful, amazing forms, just like the Lord. They're Samipya, they've become personal associates, Lord. Vishnu would speak to them. He said, oh, just like we heard earlier, how he would speak to them, oh, I'm taking rest now, so guard the door. So they're servants, but this is personal associates, actually very intimate association to serve like that. But they had no interest in Sayuja. They simply wanted to, on the same planet, the same form, the same beauty, the same opulence, the association. This is their liberation because it enables them to serve Krishna. Because this is the process of bhakti, the topmost process is to serve Krishna, to love Krishna. Samashrita ye parapadlavam, to take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. Um, Yad Anugrahat, to be a recipient of Krishna's mercy. This is their interest. Again, like Jai and Vijay specifically. Just like it's described, this is from the previous chapter, chapter 15, when the four Kumars, they went through the different gates of Vaikuntha, gate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's described they were not at all, impressed or amazed or, you know, anything by the opulence of these different gates of Vaikuntha. But when they came to the seventh gate, they were actually impressed by Jai and Vijay. Here's a description from uh, previous chapter, chapter 15, text 29. Um, After passing through the six entrances of Vaikuntha Puri, the Lord's residence, without feeling astonishment at all the decorations, they saw at the seventh gate two shining beings of the same age, armed with maces and adorned with most valuable jewelry, earrings, diamonds, helmets, garments, etc. The two doormen were garlanded with fresh flowers, which attracted intoxicated bees, and which were placed around their necks and between their four blue arms. From their arched eyebrows, discontented nostrils, and reddish eyes, they appeared somewhat agitated. So, aside from the fact that they were a little agitated because these little naked people were trying to get into Vaikuntha, their beauty and opulence and residence in Vaikuntha are all signs of their liberation. So this is liberation uh, that you can attain complete. They were in Vaikuntha and associating with the Lord and with opulence like the Lord, form like the Lord, association with the Lord because of their surrender to the Lord, because of their bhakti, which the four Kumars were excluded from until they also came to the stage of bhakti. So this is a very important point from the first half of that verse. And then the second part is also interesting. This is the more Kim Svid part, the more what the heck part, or the amazing part, that anugriyeta yat parai. How can anyone think that Krishna is dependent upon the mercy of others? This is a complete misunderstanding. Krishna is the source of all mercy. He's not dependent on anyone else's mercy, on getting anything from anyone else. Again, from the end of today's purport. I'm sorry, just give me a second to find this again. From the end of today's purport. The Lord is therefore not in need of another's favor because no one is equal to or greater than him. Actually, everyone needs the favor of the Lord for successful understanding of his human mission. So the Lord is not in need of another person's mercy. Um, he's the giver of mercy. Krishna is known as Mukunda. He's the giver of liberation, which he's doing as described in this verse by distributing his mercy. But he's not in need of any liberation. He's eternally liberated. He's eternally beyond any material conception. He's over and above everything. All worlds and all energies, everything is coming from him. Very beginning of Bhagavatam, Janmadhyasya Yataha, that he's the source of the maintenance, the creation, and the destruction of everything. So so a person like that has no need of another's mercy or another's assistance to do anything. He's fully independent. Janmadhyasya tanvyadi itratas charteshwa bigya swarat. And he's swarat, he's independent. That means he doesn't need anyone else's mercy to accomplish everything. Everything is done by his mercy, by his energies. Parasya shaktir vividaya vishruyate. Swabhaviki jnana bala kriya cha. All of his energies contain all of the knowledge, all of the strength, all of the potency to accomplish everything. He doesn't need an assistance. He doesn't need a prop, someone propping him up, someone giving him mercy so that he can do what he has to do. Matak parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya. That Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, there is nothing higher than me. Matak parataram nanyat. Para means above. Tara means an adjective can be positive, comparative, or superlative. So positive means like in English, we have the word good. That's a positive adjective. The comparative is the word better. That means good, but more good than something else, right? And in Sanskrit, that's taram, parataram. And of course, there's superlative. That's in English, good, better, best. But here the word is parataram is used, that higher in comparison to something else. So is there something higher in comparison to Krishna? Matak parataram nanyat. There is no other thing that is higher comparatively than me, Krishna says. Matak parataram nanyat kinchit asti dhananjaya. Mai sarvam idam protam. Everything is resting upon me. I am the support of everything in existence, of all creation. Anything you could see, think, hear, or imagine, or dream of, everything is resting upon me, Krishna says. Sutre mani gana eva, like jewels strung on a thread, like pearls strung on a thread. So when you look at a string of pearls, if you look at it just externally, you see the pearls and you think, oh, there's the pearls. It's about the pearls. But you understand that that string of pearls is only existing because of the thread that is passing through all of them and supporting all of them in the form of the string of pearls. Because without the thread, then it's just scattered. So Krishna is the support of everything. So what is the question of someone else having to support him? That would make the very concept of God, of Bhagavan, meaningless. Uh, so Suche Mani Ganaiva, Krishna is the support of everything. Matak Parataram Nanyat, there's nothing higher than him. He is not dependent on anyone else's mercy, on anyone else's support. And again, like I said, as far as liberation goes, which is being discussed here, Krishna is Mukunda. He's the giver of liberation. Uh, actually, just last night, in a I'm part of a Krishna book reading group, and we were reading the chapter, The Deliverance of Muchakunda. And probably most of us know the story how Muchakunda was a big, powerful king and a great warrior, and he was helping the demigods fight. So after him helping them with a battle to defeat the demons, they offered him a blessing, and Prabhupada comments in Krishna book. I'm not sure if maybe it's also in the Bhagavatam. I didn't look it up, but in the Krishna book, Prabhupada says that they offered him any benediction he wanted except liberation because the demigods are not able to give liberation. That can only be given by Krishna, who's known as Mukunda. So Krishna is the giver of liberation. He doesn't need another's mercy to cross over in material existence or to become liberated or anything like that. And even the ordinary blessings of the demigod, like Muchakunda gets, or I think Prabhupada mentions in today's purport also. Oh yeah, the karmis particularly search after the favor of the demigods. But Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Satya Shradaya Yuktas Tasyaradhanam ihate, that impelled by a certain kind of faith, a contaminated faith, but a certain kind of faith, people worship the demigods to get some temporary material gains. Labate cha tata kaman, but the fulfillment of those desires, mayaiva vihitan hitan, those are also given by me. So even the mercy we get from if someone worships the demigods and thinks, oh, I worshipped Durga and got this, that, or the other thing, or I worshipped Shiva and got this or that, even that is ultimately given by Krishna. So Krishna is the giver of everything. He's the supplier of everything. He's the merciful person. He is in not need of another's mercy. So this is what is Kim Swid. This is what makes Vishwanath Saraswat Vishwanath
Chakravarti.
Maharaj uh, say Kim Swit, that this is amazing that someone would think that. How could someone possibly think that? So this is Krishna. This is Krishna Tattva, that he's the topmost. This is the meaning of God. Asamordva, Prabhupada mentions, no one equal to, no one greater. Asamordva means asama, ordva. No one's sama, no one's equal to Krishna. Ordva, no one is higher than Krishna. Therefore, for Krishna is the giver of mercy. He's not in need of mercy or help or support from the others. But, but, and here's the but, this is not mentioned in the actual verse and purport, but there's a but here. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a very nice verse. Krishna Tattva, Bhakti Tattva, Prema Tattva Sar, Bhava Tattva, Rasa Tattva, Leela Tattva Ar. Uh, those who are a little familiar with, the Sanskrit and ISKCON lingo can very easily understand what this verse is. This means Krishna consciousness includes Krishna Tattva, understanding the truth of Krishna, what Krishna's status is, his position is, the philosophy of who Krishna is, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is what we've been discussing in this purport in this class so far. But it goes on, Krishna Tattva, Bhakti Tattva. We also have to understand the loving relationship of Krishna's devotees for Krishna. Prema Tattva Sar. We have to understand the tattva, the truth, the philosophy of prema, of love of Krishna. Bhava Tattva, the proper philosophy, the proper truth and understanding of the ecstasy of the relationship between Krishna and his devotees. Rasa Tattva, we have to understand the relationship, the science of the relationship between Krishna and his devotees. And Leela Tattva, we have to understand the truth of Krishna's pastimes. Now, these are all different. In one sense, they're different things, but they're not different things because you're all focused on the same thing, that all these things are Krishna consciousness. They're simply different ways of discussing and different angles of vision for understanding Krishna and Krishna consciousness. So, for example, we've been studying in today's class Krishna Tattva, the nature of Krishna, that he's the greatest, the highest. He's not dependent on anyone else. But in Rasa Tattva, there are also examples of Krishna appearing to be dependent upon his devotees. This is the wonder of Rasa Tattva, of Bhava Tattva, the ecstasy of and the relationship between Krishna and his devotees, that sometimes he throws these other concepts which are true, and especially for those of us in the beginning of devotional service need to really, really understand this and know this. But sometimes these things, not thrown out, but put aside for the sake of Krishna's loving relationship, ecstatic relationship with his devotees. Just like we may remember in Krishna book when Krishna is a little child, he would dance. The elder gopis would clap their hands and Krishna would dance. And they would say, "Oh, if you dance for us, we'll give you a sweet." And so Krishna would dance for the gopis. And it's described that he was dancing just like a wooden doll, just like a marionette, like you're moving the strings and then the puppet is dancing. So Krishna was like that for the elder gopis because they loved him so much that he was willing to set aside his position as the Lord of all and take a subservient position and become dependent on the mercy of the elderly gopis. Oh, if I dance for them, they'll give me a sweet. He was accepting that. Um, or Damodar Leela, which we were worshiping not too long ago. Damodar Leela, that Mother Yashoda is chasing Krishna with a stick, and Krishna's crying. Oh, be merciful. Oh, Maya, be merciful to me. Give me your mercy and don't whip me. Don't tie me. So Krishna is becoming dependent on the mercy of his devotees. And then at the end of that Leela, when Nanda Maharaj said, "Oh, what are you doing tying him to a mortar?" And so he untied Krishna from the mortar. So he's de becoming dependent on his devotees' mercy. Dancing. What's uh Ekale Ishwara Krishna Arasaba Britya Yare Yache Nachaya Setaiche Kari Nritya. That Ekale Ishwara Krishna. Krishna is the one, the only uh, controller of everything. Arasaba Britya, and everyone else is his servant. Krishna's the one master, and everyone else, including even personal expansions of Krishna, like Balaram, are servants of Krishna himself. Yari Yaiche Nachya Setaiche Kari Nritya. And he makes all of them dance as he chooses to make them dance. Prabhupada understood this when he wrote that poem in Boston Harbor. Make me dance, O Lord, make me dance as you like. But here Krishna is dancing to get the mercy of the gopis, or when he's with the cowherd boys. He'd be playing with them, and the cowherd boys would say, "Oh, Krishna, you're not so strong. Let's have a wrestling match. We'll have a fight, and I'll defeat you." And sometimes he would be defeated. He would choose to be defeated by his devotee. That means he's becoming subjugated by his devotee. He's becoming controlled by his devotee. And what to speak of the gopis most of all. And well, let's go progressively. Then there's his parents. We're thinking, oh, if I don't cook for Krishna and feed Krishna and make him eat, he'll starve. And Krishna is acting like that, dependent on his parents. Oh, you have to feed me. You have to give me this. You have to give me that. And he's dependent on them, appearing to be dependent on them. And then the gopis, most of all, because of their love, Krishna becomes so dependent on them. So dependent that in the rasa dance, Krishna says, Napare aham niravadya samyuja. You have served me and pleased me and given up everything. The gopis, Krishna specifically says, you've given up everything. And in today's verse, what kind of yogi can attain the Krishna's mercy? Those who are nivrita, given up all material things, all material desires. So the gopis did that. And what did Krishna say? I cannot repay you. I am eternal. That means not repay you means he's eternally in their debt. Krishna, who owns and controls everything, there is nothing separate from his energies, but he is becoming a debtor to the gopis. And to pay back that debt, he becomes the servant of his devotee. Also, just like in Nectar of Devotion and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there are 6 characteristics of devotional service given. And the final one, the highest one, is that devotional service is Sri Krishna Karshani. That devotional service, especially all devotional service, but especially the pure loving devotional service of the gopis and ultimately of Radhika herself, Sri Krishna Karshani, that controls and attracts Krishna. Krishna, who is the shelter of everything, he becomes bound by the love of his devotees. So this is it's not a paradox or a contradiction. Krishna is certainly the controller of everything. He's Ashraya. He's the shelter of everything. This word Ashraya is used when we were studying the 2nd canto and the 10 topics of Bhagavatam were given. And the 10th topic is Ashraya, which is Krishna, the shelter of everything. So Krishna's Ashraya. That means other beings have to be given shelter by him or are constitutionally under Krishna's shelter. He's the shelter and the others are under his shelter. Or just like Rasa Tattva is mentioned in that Chaitanya Charitamrita verse. Rasa Tattva, in Rasa Tattva, described in Nectar of Devotion, that generally speaking, although Krishna is the ashraya of everything, in devotional service, the devotee becomes ashraya, the shelter, because he is the shelter, he is the abode, he is the source of love for Krishna. And Krishna becomes Vishaya, becomes the object of that love. And he's so much under the shelter of that devotee's love that he was so captivated by it and so taken by it and so desirous of it that he came as Mahaprabhu, so he can experience and taste that same position of being the worshiper of Krishna, not just being the worshipped. And that's one of the important things Mahaprabhu came to teach. So anyway, like I said, this is not a paradox, it's not contradictory, it's different angles of understanding Krishna, that he's the shelter of everything and is dependent on no one, he's independent. And in that independence, yetamam prapadyante tanstataiva bayamyaham, that when a yogi, a proper yogi, gets to the point of giving up material desires and worshiping Krishna, which means he's a bhakti yogi now, then that person can receive mercy and taranti yanjasa mrityum. That person can very easily step over the ocean of material existence, just as one steps over the water in the hoof print of a calf. And at the same time, Krishna puts himself in a position where he's dependent on his devotees, where he's under his devotees, where he's subservient to his devotees. And this is not a contradiction. Rather, this is what do I say? This is not a bug, it's a feature, right? That this is the further increased glories of Krishna. That although he's the Lord of everything, uh, even higher than his concept of mere lordship is the concept of his loving relationship with his devotees. Therefore, when we worship Krishna, we don't worship Krishna alone. Prabhupada has said many times, we don't worship Krishna alone. We worship Sitaram, we worship Lakshmi Narayan, and ultimately we worship Radha Krishna or Krishna Balaram. Krishna in relationship with others. This is our worshipable deity, not Krishna by himself. Even this is not literally true, but philosophically we can understand what Prabhupada meant by it. One time said that Krishna by himself is not that beautiful. But when he's in the association with his devotees, with Radhika, then he becomes beautiful. So this is our worshipable deity. That's why our worshipable deity is Radha Krishna, because this is the fullest understanding of Krishna. And we understand these together. We bring these, just like Krishna Tattva, Bhakti Tattva, Prema Tattva, Bhava Tattva, Rasa Tattva, Lila Tattva. These are not contradictory, they're complementary. So therefore, we understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We are tiny, insignificant souls suffering in this material world. Therefore, we have to surrender to him. And when we surrender to him and serve him and develop our love for him and nivrita, give up our attachment to the material world, then we could receive Krishna's mercy and cross over this material existence. And at the same time, we also see and appreciate and love how Krishna also becomes subservient to his devotees. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, everybody, for your very kind attention. If there's any questions or comments or discussion, we can do that now.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Not a question directly related. Yesterday we were reading the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and there was a discussion about understanding the absolute truth in three ways. Paramatma, Bhagwan, and Brahman. Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan.
Right.
So do devotees, we accept Krishna as Bhagwan, but do devotees also can see the absolute truth in the form of Brahman? I'm trying to
Yeah.
understand. My question, I think my question is, we say Mayavadis, we say, transcendentalists who are, but can they be, so the paragraph started with, in the beginning, we understand him as Brahman, and as we understand or we learn more and more, we see that he's Bhagavan, he's the absolute,
Right.
he is everything. Is that true for devotees also?
Um, I don't know about true for every individual devotee, but it's the philosophical point that uh, the verse says Advayam in
Mm,
Bhagavatam, that the absolute truth is non-dual. So the absolute truth exists as one amazing, beautiful, coherent entity, Krishna.
mm,
And according to one's vision, just like Prabhupada gave the example of the train, when the train is far away,
mm,
all you can maybe see is the light, the headlight, right?
mm,
And someone who doesn't know what a train is or doesn't know what it is will think, oh, a light is coming.
mm,
And then it gets closer and you can see, oh, it's a train. The train is coming. And
mm,
then when the train pulls into the station, you could get on the train, meet the conductor or the engineer or whatever, and shake his hand.
mm,
So in all three of those cases, it's not the train that has changed. The train is the same throughout each of those different levels of appreciation,
mm,
but it's the appreciation of the viewer that has changed.
mm,
So Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan, in one sense, they're one. And the Bhagavatam says Advayam, it's non-dual substance. But if someone only can appreciate the absolute truth, like neti neti, it's not material existence, not this, not that, no taste, no form, no body, no that if that's all they can appreciate, then that's all they can see of the absolute truth. Or if someone's meditating on the Paramatma in the heart, because of their preconceptions, because of their biases, because of the presence of desires, or because of ignorance, that's all they can appreciate. And then when one's knowledge and appreciation increases anymore, then one can understand Bhagavan. And you can also work this process backwards in the other way also, that when you understand and appreciate and see Bhagavan, Paramatma and Brahman are automatically included within that. So the devotee who understands Krishna and worships Krishna automatically understands and gives all proper, whatever the nature of that relationship or anything might be, has all proper understanding of also Paramatma and also Bhagavan. Now, we don't worship those because it's not conducive to our devotional service, but it's automatically included within the
mm,
existence of Bhagavan. Or the other example Prabhupada gave is the sun.
mm,
There's the sunlight entering our room. There's the sun rays coming from the sun planet. And then there's the sun planet itself.
mm,
So there are different appreciations of different facets. But if you actually go to the actual planet of the sun, you also get the light and you also get the rays of the sun automatically while being on the sun planet.
Yeah.
But so much more is offered that that's not your prime consideration. So a devotee also understands and has proper relationship with Brahman and with Paramatma. But their focus is on Bhagavan, not because it's not actually, in one sense, it's not correct to say that, oh, Bhagavan is better than Paramatma or
mm,
Bhagavan is better than Brahman. In
mm,
one sense, yes, because worship, in the sense that worshiping Bhagavan is way better than worshiping Paramatma or Brahman. But it's not true in the sense that they're actually the same. They're actually the same. It's all Krishna,
mm,
but it's according to the appreciation of the person or the yogi or the devotee approaching them. So the devotee automatically has proper understanding, proper relationship with Paramatma and with Brahman. Does that make any sense, or is that helpful at all?
mm. Yes, it is the question that I'm having trouble with, I think, is we say that it's very dangerous. We've read in many places, Prabhupada saying it is very dangerous for the Mayavadis
Mm.
uh, because if if they if they merge into the effulgence, and that's the part that I'm having trouble understanding. So if in on one side you're saying in the beginning we understand the absolute truth as Brahman, of course we are not trying to merge with effulgence. So maybe that's where the difference is. We're understanding him as effulgence, and hopefully in time we will progress and we will understand that he's Bhagwan.
Right, like the four Kumaras did.
Yeah. But if we want to merge in the effulgence, and that's the only place where we
Right.
stop, maybe that's what it is. Like I'm trying
Yeah.
to understand what is the difference between Mayavadis, of course, are saying that we are covered by Maya, and so he's also covered by Maya, and so that part I'm getting.
Right.
But where is the dangerous part or the condemned part? That's
The dangerous part is that if you want to, is that you're trying to understand an aspect of the absolute truth, not in connection, not in relationship to the fullness of what that absolute truth is. You're
mm,
taking one part of that understanding and isolating it
mm,
from, philosophically speaking, you would say, like, from its context.
mm,
You're isolating, if you isolate Brahman from Brahmanohi Pratishtaham,
mm,
if you isolate Brahman and not understanding that this is coming from Krishna, just want to understand it separately or as superior, then you necessarily will have an unbalanced understanding.
mm, mm. Okay.
Because everything, even materially, things
Mm,
have to be understood in their proper context. If you isolate it, then you won't be able to actually understand it properly, and
mm,
you'll come up with some incorrect conclusion. Even if even if some of the facts are true, just like it's true, Brahman exists, it's the basis of everything in the
mm,
material world. It's completely beyond material existence. It's completely transcendental. But if you don't understand that in connection with understanding the personality of Godhead Krishna, which is the fullest manifestation of the absolute truth, then you come up with different kinds of perverted ideas.
mm.
I- I'm not sure.
Yes,
I feel like I'm not exactly hitting your question on the head, but
probably because my
but that but
question
that
is,
no, it's a good question, but that's what I have to offer.
yeah.
That's what you know, we don't hate Brahman, we don't hate Paramatma, but when those are understood separate from Bhagavan, then you get twisted ideas, then you get improper ideas, like the four Kumaras. They were worshiping Krishna separately. I'm sorry, worshiping Brahman separately,
Mm,
and therefore they got overtaken by anger and lost their temper when they weren't allowed into Vaikuntha, where they actually were not even fit to enter at that time. But then when they understood that, oh, that Brahman we've been worshiping, this is actually what we're really worshiping is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And they understood that.
I was going to ask then, how does one go from the limited understanding to the understanding of Bhagwan? But I guess today's verse tells you how it is when the Lord favors, only with his mercy.
He had a Lord's
And
mercy and a little, some practice, some pious activities, some devotional piety, some sukriti and devotional service,
mm,
some philosophy,
mm,
some prasadam,
mm,
hearing
mm,
some kirtan, all of these things. Uh, Going back a few decades, I was an one thing to remember is most people today
mm.
who claim to be impersonalists or Brahmavadis or worshiping Brahman or absorbed in Brahman, 99.999% of them are simply rascals and cheaters anyway, with who are not even worth consideration. That's number one.
Mm,
But going back to my own past, I claimed to be an impersonalist,
mm,
a worshiper of Brahman. I even spent a year in a ashram of a semi-famous Mayavadi from South India, Ramana Maharshi, some of you may have heard of. I spent a year
Maharshi.
I spent a year pursuing that and thinking, yes, it's all one and Brahman and it's all impersonal, and when you're liberated, it's all over and you're just light and blah blah blah, all this nonsense. But after I spending a year there, I was visiting New York, where I'm from, and a friend, and also because I was interested in Indian culture, a friend said, "Oh, I hear they're putting on a play of Ramayana at the Hare Krishna temple in New York. You want to go?" So he said, "Yeah, Hindu, Indian, whatever. Yeah, sure, let's go see." I saw that play, and I'm not exaggerating. Seeing that play, it was almost like flipping a switch. But I understood, oh, the supreme absolute truth is a person, not just a light or a void or an impersonal or a Brahman. Just seeing that actually on the spot literally changed my mind. So the potential is there, and it'll be different for different people.
Yeah.
It could take longer time, it could take shorter time, whatever, but the potential is there that Krishna consciousness can purify us. And the misunderstandings are there, and almost all of it nowadays, it's almost all nonsense. No one really even cares about philosophy or this or that. They're just most of 99% of it is make show. But person who has a little bit of sincerity, like Prabhupada says, ado shraddha, right? I think, oh, what do these Hare Krishnas have to say? Let me go see. So I did that, and it changed I thought, oh, let me see this Hare Krishna play, and it changed my life. And I'm not unique. I'm not special. I'm not qualified, but it changed my life.
Yeah.
And any of us, maybe all of us, have, different kinds, their own individual but parallel experiences where you thought, oh yeah, Krishna. And then you start thinking, yeah, Krishna, not just Brahman, not just Paramatma, not just, whatever your previous ideas were. So it can happen. It's there for anyone. Very few take to it. It's Krishna's mercy, whether you call it chance or luck or Sukriti from previous lives. We don't know any of that, or just, dumb luck being in the right place at the right time, that you were in a place where there was a devotee and that devotee was merciful. And he went to you and he said, you know, whatever, here's a cookie or chant Hare Krishna or take this book or whatever. Because it's like you said, it's all by Krishna's mercy. And Krishna distributes his mercy through his devotees. So if those of us who are lucky enough, whether you call it dumb luck or whatever, but it's possible, it's there. But yeah, Brahman is there, Paramatma is there, but they're simply different features of Krishna. And they're incomplete features of Krishna. Krishna as Bhagavan is most complete. And that most complete means that Brahman and Paramatma is automatically included. So we don't have to make a separate endeavor to become Brahmavadis or to become, yogis. Anyway, I spent a long time droning
Thank
on.
you very much,
I don't know if
Prabhu.
any of it helps, but Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
it does. Thank you.
Any other it's 9 o'clock. Any quick questions or comments?
Today is holiday, Prabhu. Don't worry about it. We can listen all day. We can
Holiday.
listen
What
all
is it? It's the Shasti of the bright fortnight of the month, right? That's the holiday. Oh yeah, Christmas, right? Yeah, I forgot all
That's
about
why I said.
it. I didn't grow up with Christmas, and since
Yeah,
I'm a
no, I
baby, I didn't
know,
follow it. It's not
but
that much different.
we used to
Yeah.
enjoy the holiday. That's it.
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah.
celebrate.
For
But
anyone who does,
this way, listening to Bhagavatam in the morning, we are celebrating.
yes, that's the best Christmas celebration. And for
That's
anyone who does celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas.
yeah.
And especially to everyone who got a day off of work because of it, all
Yeah.
glories.
That's why this we need not to be Hari Prabhu. But this is very good examples you are giving today. That Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan.
Yeah.
That was really, really, I enjoy that examples you gave that today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that could be you could almost boil down this whole pastime of the four Kumars and Jai and Vijay.
Yeah.
That this is the point of it, the progression from Brahman to Bhakti. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you very much, Mata.
these four Kumaras and Jai and Vijay.
Yeah.
This chapter is giving a lot of things, Prabhu.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoy
Lot
this
here.
chapter till the thing. And when Vishnu came with Lakshmi, and the way he was telling, we had to learn a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
The person
It really is great. Like you say, you learn a lot. There's so much like practical instructions on how to behave and how to understand.
Yeah.
And at the same time, there's so much sweetness, and Krishna's dealing with his devotee and all of that going on. So much going, just like I was trying to make the point that there's Krishna Tattva and there's Rasa Tattva. So this pastime has both of them so nicely
Both of them.
intertwined.
Really, I'm enjoying a lot. And then I'm learning a lot. The way Krishna handled with four Kumaras. And, when they were mad, angry with Jai Vijay.
Yeah.
But still, how he handled that.
Yeah.
If that is me, I don't know, I got angry. Why are you telling my people like that? But the way he
Yeah, he was
did
so
it,
sweet.
it's so sweet. So we have to learn a lot, Prabhu.
Jai.
Thank
you very much.
Thank you very much for the class.
Anything else, question or comment?
That's all I have.
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody, for your very kind attention. Have a wonderful day. Have a happy holiday, a happy New Year. See you next year.
Happy New Year to you too.
Hare
Tell
Krishna.
Mataji, namaskar.
I'll tell her. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Pancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhavye.
Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubheva
Patitanam pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo namo
namo
namaha.
namaha.
Hare Krishna.